Those were some games. Either way, guys, yeah, we got the Week 14 recap. Let's get right into this thing.
Go, but that's the process of building an offense.
On fake, Prescott pumps, throws, intercepted. Holcomb's got it with a pass to the end zone. Holcomb still on his feet, he's in.
The other side, as disappointing as today was, they've got a shot. If they can put the pieces back together, deal with some of the injuries.
Rashad Penny shoving defenders away, and Penny has a Seahawk touchdown.
It's only a matter of whatever the final score would be. Do you have Derek Gore? Check back in Carolina.
Panthers must get to the 30 for a first down. Newton's pass is picked off. It's coming back the other way. It's Michael Walker in for an Atlanta touchdown.
Field, fans in motion.
Launches deep. Jalen Guyton, he's got it. Touchdown Chargers. What a throw.
He's rolling that way, and your quarterback's under duress. Nobody feels like they can throw it that far, right? You feel like you're pretty good shape right there if you're Logan Ryan. There's
And what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Untitled. We got the Week 14 recap. We got 12 games there. It should be really fun. Let's get right into it. First game we're doing, though, is going to be the Jags and the Titans. This game was really bad. The Titans ended up winning 20-0. They shut out the Jaguars. Jaguars fall 2-11. Titans go to 9-4. They needed this win badly. I guess they were playing the Jaguars, so they played good. Basically, if you don't score a point, you're probably going to get a 0. They did not run the ball efficiently. They ran the ball 6 times with James Robinson. They ran the ball total of 8 times. Safe to say they didn't run the ball well. I mean, no offense, but you got to give James Robinson more than 6 carries if you want to win a football game. I'm sorry. And then Trevor Lawrence, 24, 42, 21, 4 interceptions. He was pretty awful. Like, he was actually not that awful at times. He threw some really bad passes, though. He threw 4 picks. He was not good. As a result, they ended up getting blown out. So, yeah, they get a minus. Their defense really, like, for the situations they were in, they weren't really that, but they had a sack. They actually had 3 sacks. Never mind. They didn't make a ton of big plays, but they did do their job. Myles Jack had his best game of the season. They did not force any turnovers. They did actually stop the run pretty well, though, and they did have 3 sacks. So I will give them an underscore. They did have a couple turnovers. They might have kept the offense in the game. They did for the first half, definitely. Second half, it just kind of got out of hand. Like, Ryan Tannehill, like, that's not a terrible game. 20 of 31, 191. Like, he could have been better, could have been worse. They ran the ball pretty well, what they needed to. 13 for 47, touchdown. I'm giving them a minus, and here's why. They didn't turn over the ball. They didn't run the ball efficiently. You got to play a little better than that if you want to win games. Their defense was phenomenal. I get that. But got to play a little better. Julio had a decent game when he's coming back. He hasn't been the same guy in a while, but whatever. Their defense, though, had 3 sacks, 4 interceptions. Like, I don't really need to say they had 4+ sacks. They were not on the field that long. They had 3 sacks, was close enough. They definitely get a plus, though, because they did get a shutout. You shut out a team, you're going to get a plus every single time. Next game, of course, being the Saints and the Jets. This game was pretty bad, to say the least. It actually wasn't as bad as people might thought it was when you watched it, but rewatching it wasn't that bad. Final score is 39. Saints are 6-7. Jets are 3-10. Of course, Saints are a lot better right now. Taysom Hill, 15 of 21, 175. He did his job, but they ran the ball so well. I don't think it mattered. When you run the ball like this, 27, 120 touchdown, good game for really good game for Alvin Kamara. 11 for 73, 2 touchdowns. Taysom Hill is electric. Tony Jones Jr. had a big first down. He had a nice couple catches, like one big catch for him, and then Alvin Kamara had a couple good catches. He had a touchdown, 16-yard touchdown run. Their offense gets a plus 20 plus run the ball efficiently. They did that well. No turnovers either. They play like that. They can beat a lot of good teams. They are a good team, but when their defense has 3 sacks and they made a couple big plays, they get a plus. Their defense honestly probably could have been better, but they were playing the Jets. So they did play well enough for them to hold them out of the end zone. But I think if their defense just plays a little better, I think they have a shot at beating the Bucs next week. Then for the Jets, Zach Wilson just wasn't accurate. Other than that, though, I think he had an okay game. 19 to 42, 202. Didn't run the ball a lot. When they did, they didn't really get a ton. Michael P. Ron had a fishing game, I guess. But Zach Wilson had a couple really nice runs. He just needs to be a little more accurate, and he was okay. He wasn't terrible. Braxton Berrios had a good game, though, considering he's not the greatest route runner or talented at catching the ball. Keelan Cole really struggled at beating guys. Other than that, though, he had one big catch. He is their big play guy. He's a big play receiver anyway, but when they do have Corey Davis, Elijah Moore, he's really talented. James Crowder, he struggled today because they were putting a lot of guys on him. Their offense gets a minus. They weren't great. Zach Wilson just wasn't good. I don't want to give him a minus, but they didn't run the ball enough times, and the play action just wasn't really there. They only scored 9 points, so you got to score more than that. Defensively, the other 2 sacks. They were okay. They get a minus though because they didn't get run over. They didn't really contain the screens in some plays. They didn't force any turnovers. They didn't stop the run. They didn't do anything I really wanted them to, and just watching them could have been a lot more points against them, playing in a better offense. Next game gonna be this game was actually really good. The Ravens and the Browns. This game was really good. I watched this thing. Really good game. So yeah, if you didn't know, Lamar got hurt. He was 4 for 4 for 17 yards. Though he got hurt on one play. Hurt his ankle. Then Tyler Huntley came in and played really well. 27-38, 270 touchdown. Ravens lost 22-24. They lost their second in a row. Ravens, of course, being in the AFC North, they're still first. And then the Browns were 7-6. They're not great, but they're doing their job, winning games. They're gonna have to play better though. I really think they are the best team in the division. They just gotta play better. Yeah, they did win. They should have won by a lot more, though. I'll tell you that much. Ravens offense, for what they did, I gotta admit, I can't give them a plus. I'll give them an underscore, though. Mark Andrews, Rashard Bateman, good players. Honestly, they should have if they just converted on the last year, I would have given them a plus, but they didn't, so they don't get a plus. But they played good football. Defensively, they were so battered with injury, they had a pick. Second half, definitely a plus. First half, I'd have to give them minus. They ran all over. Give them an underscore. First half, to tell 2 halves. They did have a turnover. They did stop the run. Not well, but they did their job. Then for the Browns, Baker, I'd say he showed up. 22 for 32, 192 touchdowns a pick. He wasn't great. They didn't run the ball that well. They did run the ball pretty well in some plays. Jarvis Landry had a nice touchdown though. Same with Austin Hooper. Like I said, Baker wasn't a bad game, but he didn't have a great game. Target Donovan Peoples-Jones, they did that a lot. I like what they did there. Rashard Higgins, Jarvis Landry, they did that. They didn't get the ball to Rashard Higgins. They only gave him 2 targets. He wasn't really doing much. 15 plus times. They did give him 12, 13 targets. Baker just didn't do what he would need to. Give him an underscore. They did not suck, so I will give them that. But if they just played a little better, they would have won the game a lot better. Their defense, you can't have that happen to you. Yeah, they had 3. Let's see, 1, 2. They had 4 sacks, but other than that. Under 100, I'd say. Wait, let's see. They didn't do that. They gave up over 100 rushing yards. They really couldn't contain the quarterback. They didn't really stop the run. I will give them an underscore just because they did come up big in the end. But if they can't play like that and expect to be like the Packers, who they will have to play in a couple weeks. I'm telling you that. And yeah, now we go to this is actually a game. It was actually entertaining to watch if you are a Seahawks fan. I don't really know if you're a Texans fan because your offense kind of just slept off the first half. They woke up a little bit in the second half. Seahawks ended up winning this if this thing will load. Okay. Seahawks ended up winning this thing 33-13. They go to 5-8. Texans fall to 2-11. But Russ didn't have a bad game. 17 of 28, 260 touchdowns. They ran the ball super well. Though Rashad Penny had a great game. Career Tyler Lockett had a big game. DK had a couple big catches. Their offense gets the plus. Like, I don't know. If they played that every week, they're going to win games. I get it was against the Texans, but that's just what you want to see from them every week. Defensively, like, I'm not giving them a plus. They did get torched a little bit by David Mills. They didn't really give up a ton of big plays. They did have 2 sacks, though. I'll give them an underscore. They should have played better. They only get 13 points, so they were really good in the red zone, too. You play like that, you're good. Texans offense, like Davis Mills, you're not going to really get any better than this from him. 33 of 49, 331 touchdown. That's a good game for most quarterbacks. That's a great game for him. They didn't run the ball well at all, though. Brandon Cooks had 1 bomb of a catch in with Nico Collins. They did have 1 40-yard play. I think that was with the Nico Collins. Other than that, though, they were lacking a lot of explosive plays. I'll give them a underscore, though, because Davis Mills played it out of his mind. They did not run the ball efficiently. They didn't have any turnovers, though, so I'll give them that. Defensively, they didn't do anything. Like, when you're that bad of a defense, you shouldn't expect anything, but they were pretty bad, like, even for that bad of a defense. Alright, next game, Falcons, Panthers. This game was just meh. Like, it was painful to watch. That's what I want to be. Painful to watch. That's a good way to put it. Loud! Okay. Okay. Falcons, they won 29-21. They go to 6-7, keep their wild card games alive, and then the Panthers fall to 5-8. They're done. Matt Ryan was average, 19 of 28, 190 touchdown. They ran the ball not well at all. Mike Davis had a couple big runs. Cordell Patterson didn't have a terrible game. He wasn't like I wouldn't say he's non-factor, but he wasn't great. 10 plus time to Kyle Pitts. He had like 6 targets. Russell Gage hit some big catches, run the ball. Didn't do that. I'll give him an underscore. They played decent. Could have played better. The Falcons defense. Yeah, they did give up a little bit of yards. They had 2 picks, a pick 6, a sack. They made some big plays. Like, you're not gonna really get much better than that. So I will give them a plus. And they're not talented. Also, I have to give them that. Then for the Panthers, like, they were moving the ball. Honestly, that wasn't the problem. Cam was 15 of 23, 178 interception. He wasn't great. PJ Walker wasn't much better. 6 of 12, 75 yards, touchdown pick. He did have a touchdown. The Cam ran for a touchdown. Chuba Hubbard had a touchdown. They actually attempted to run the ball, then they got behind, though. 5 plus wide receiver screen. They ran a lot of screens. They ran too many RPOs because Cam is not that type of quarterback. He doesn't have the arm to get it in there. 20 plus carries. They didn't really do that with Chuba Hubbard. No turnovers. I have to give them a minus because they kept shooting themselves in the foot. They had 2 bad turnovers. A fumble. You can't have that and expect to win games. I'm sorry. Turnovers were the deciding factor if you haven't already figured it out. Defensively, like that was just a disappointing game. At the end, they couldn't stop the run. We'll give them an underscore. They did keep them in the game at times. They did keep them in the game at times, so I will give them an underscore. But they got to play better if they want to be an actual good team. They're already done, but like, who knows? Okay, now we go to the NFL on Fox. This game was wild, especially the fourth quarter. It was a blowout. Like, it was 24-0. Yeah, 24-0. 27-8 going into the fourth with like 5 minutes to play. Washington made it a game. Cowboys won 27-20. Washington falls to 6-7. Cowboys go to 9-4. Dak was not good. 22 of 39, 211 touchdown, 2 picks. Zeke was like he got the job done. Corey Clement, same thing. Not good games, but like they got the job done. CeeDee Lamb had a decent game. Amari Cooper had a decent game. Michael Gallup, they're like all decent games. Like not bad, not great. They didn't have any they really did limit the explosive plays. Run the ball efficiently, didn't do that well. He did not show up in the fourth quarter. If anything, he almost blew the game in the fourth quarter. I'll give him an underscore. I can't give him a minus. They came up in some big spots. That's what I meant to say. They were bad in the fourth quarter, but like other than the pick 6, Dak wasn't that awful. In the fourth quarter, he wasn't good, but their defense, though, they led the way. They had a sack, 2 sacks, a pick, 3 sacks and a pick. Wait, 5 sacks? Oh yeah, they did have 5 sacks. Never mind. They're getting an underscore, and here's why. They got their secondary has some issues. They have a really good defense when they are getting a ton of pass rush. When they don't get that, they're in trouble. 2 plus turnovers. They got 1. No, they did get a fumble. They got 2 turnovers. 20 was managed by the offense. The offense didn't really have the ball. I'd say it was split. And they didn't. Let's see. Did they stop the run? No, they did not. Yeah, it looks like they did, but there were some big runs. I mean, like there was like back-to-back 15-yard runs. I'm not saying it. Taylor Heineke was not good. 11-25, 122 touchdown pick. Really struggled. Kyle Allen was a lot better. 4 of 9, 53 yards. He just was more efficient. It felt like, even if he didn't have the better stat line, I guess. That Ford was total yards were far from that. 40 was efficient, far from that. They're getting a minus. Their defense, though, they kept them in the game. They're getting a plus. Yeah, I know they weren't great, but they had 4 sacks, 2 picks. They kept them in the game like they were supposed to. They almost won. Stop the run though. They did that well. Don't give them any big plays. Did that. They got a plus. Yeah, the Cowboys offense is prone to mistakes, like a lot of good offenses are at times. Now I'll go to the NFL and CBS doubleheader game 1. This was not a doubleheader game you'd want to watch because this was a stinker. The Chiefs absolutely pounced on the Raiders. We'll get to that in a second after this loads. Yeah, Raiders lost 48-9. You can't win games when you lose that bad. Chiefs are now 9-4. Raiders fell to 6-7. Derek Carr 33-45, 263 touchdown pick. He was not good. Josh Jacobs 9-27, not good. They did not. Hunter Renfrow had a good game. But you can't win games when they fumbled the ball 3 times. They did not score 25. They couldn't run the ball. Their defense was almost as bad though. They just gave up 41 points, 3 sacks. I get it, but you just were bad. Raiders laid an egg. Like Patrick Mahomes, I know, like he didn't have to do anything, but honestly, he was actually pretty good. Like Mahomes, 20 of 24, like 258, 2 touchdowns. They were decent. They ran the ball so well though, like when they needed to. Ran the ball for over 100, pretty well, 3 touchdowns. No turnovers. Mahomes was pretty consistent. They definitely scored 30 plus. I'm giving them a plus. Their defense though was fantastic. They had a pick. They had a fumble recovered for a touchdown. They had 4 sacks. They got their job done. They get a plus. They had a lot of intensity. I really liked how they played. And that's the end of that one. Now go to the later window games. This game, first one we're doing. Other than saying that, one conclusion I have basically almost every week, well, every other week actually, and Justin Herbert's been elite this year at times. That bomb you guys saw in the highlights was absolutely crazy. You don't see those throws from anyone. But yeah, the Chargers ended up winning 37-21. Giants fall to 4-9. Chargers go to 8-5. Huge win for them. They have Thursday Night Football against the Chiefs, most likely for the division. Mike Glennon was like whatever, 17-36, 191, 2 touchdowns pick. He got it happening in the end. Saquon was just about average. Devontae Booker had some good carries. Kyle Rudolph had 1 big catch. Other than that, he did nothing. Saquon had a couple good screens. He had a big touchdown for them. They did the job. Like, I'll give them an underscore. They were okay. The Giants, like, you can't really get any worse than that. But it wasn't garbage time. But they did the best with the backup quarterback. Defensively, Aaron Robinson's not a good corner. They had a sack. Other than that, like, they were pretty bad. No big plays. Sorry, they give up a lot of big plays. They did not stop the run either. Like, you can't have that happening. Justin Herbert was just about perfect. 23 of 31, 275, 3 touchdowns. You're not going to get any better than that. Jim Guyton, 3 for 87, a big touchdown. Josh Palmer had a nice touchdown. Jared Cook had a goal line touchdown too. 30 points. They did their job. They get a plus. Defensively, like, I mean, they weren't awful. Like, I'm not giving them a plus. They did give some big plays though. They had a sack, 2 sacks a pick against better offenses. They're going to struggle. I'll give them an underscore. Like, they did get the job done, but you got to play better. Okay, guys, next game, Lions-Broncos. Oh, yeah, before that, if you guys didn't know yet, Jalen Ramsey and Tyler Higbee are out for the Monday Night Football game. That kind of sucks because the Rams really need them if they want to win that game, but they're just going to have to pull it out. Either way, this game was an absolute blowout. Lions ended up go to 1-11-1. Broncos go to 7-6. Huge for them. They won 38-10 over a team that had the flu. Put it that simple as I can. Jared Goff was not great. 24 of 39, 215, a touchdown pick. They actually ran the ball to Craig Reynolds, and he was just running all over them. Other than that, though, he got 11 carries. So, like, don't really know what else to say. Run the ball efficiently, 10 plus targets to TJ Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson didn't play. I'll give them an underscore because they did actually run the ball well. Other than that, they didn't score many points. I'm not giving them minus. Here's why. They ran the ball 11 for 83 with Craig Reynolds. Like, you don't see that out of that if a team like that. And when I did see it, I'm like, that's nuts. Defensively, they had a sack. They weren't good. They get a minus. They didn't play very aggressive for a couple of reasons. They didn't really stop the run either. They gave a lot of touchdowns in the red zone. They ended up losing. Broncos, Teddy Bridgewater just about average, 18 of 25, 179, 2 touchdowns. Melvin Gordon, 24 for 111, 2 touchdowns. Javonte Williams, 15 for 73 touchdowns. That's what you want to see out of them. They run the ball well. They got to keep doing it if they want to win. Finish drives, they definitely did that. They ran the ball 30 plus times. They did that. They won. And then defensively, they had a sack. They did their job. They had 2 sacks a pick. Draymond Jones had a big game. I'll give them a plus. They just got to play a little better. They had a sack. They didn't have 2 plus turnovers though. They didn't really stop the run well either. But since they played well enough for them to win, I will give them a plus. Now we're going to the 2 most insane games of the week, to say the least. Yeah, the 49ers pulled out a thriller against the Bengals. They should not have won this game. They blew it. They ended up winning though. So 49ers win in overtime, 26-23. 49ers go to 7-6. Bengals fall to 7-6. Jimmy Garoppolo pulled out in the end, 27-41, 296, 2 touchdowns. They didn't run the ball well. When they did run, though, it was good. Deebo Samuel had a couple good carries. Jeff Wilson had a decent game. George Kittle had a monster game. Brandon Ayuk hit the game-winning touchdown. I won't give them a plus. I'll give them an underscore. They did pull it off in the end, but they were pretty bad in the third quarter. And the fourth quarter. But they got bailed out, too. Defensively, they had 4 sacks. Overtime, I think that's the best overtime I've ever seen them play. They actually had 5 sacks. I'm giving them an underscore. They don't get a plus, but they just gave a couple big plays to the end. If they didn't do that, they would have won the game. Bengals. Joe Burrow was actually really good. 24 of 35, 348, 2 touchdowns. He had an insane throw. Touchdown to Jamar Chase, crazy touchdown. Jamar Chase had 2 touchdowns. T. Higgins was a star though. He had 5 for 114. Joe Mixon couldn't really run the ball well. I'm giving them a plus. I'm giving them an underscore. They would have gotten a plus if they could pull through, but they were just not good in the first and second and third and overtime. They got to pull a touchdown there. If they did, they would have won the game, obviously. Defensively, though, they had 4 sacks. They were okay. I don't really know what else to say, but they were just about average, and they didn't let the 49ers run over them. I think both teams played a decent game. It's just the fact that the Niners pulled through in the end. Now we go to the NFL on CBS. This game was insane. Neither team should be happy with this game. Yeah, it was a great game, but the Bills were down 24-3. They came back, and then they came back in the second half and won 24-3 second half. 27-27, they gave a touchdown to Rashad Perriman and ended up losing. They fell to 7-6, huge loss for them, and then Bucks go to 10-3. Josh Allen was actually really good. He grinded 36 of 54, 308, 2 touchdowns. When they ran the ball, it was really good. They didn't run the ball for the first half, and you want to know why they didn't run it? Because they just didn't feel like it. And yeah, Josh Allen threw 54 times, but when they did run the ball, I'd say they ran the ball well. They didn't run the ball 30 plus times. They didn't get 30 plus points. They didn't have 35 minutes possession time, but they came back, so I'll give them an underscore. Defensively, stopped the run. They didn't do that. They get a minus. This defense, what you saw it, they can shut down Tom Brady when they stop the run. When they stop the run, they shut down Tom Brady. As you can see, they had 2 sacks. They were good, but they just couldn't stop the run when they needed to. Tom Brady was decent, 31 of 46, 63, 2 touchdowns. Like I said, Leonard Fournette was a monster, 19 for 113, touchdown. Tom had a big first down for them. Ronald Jones didn't do anything. Chris Godwin had a big game. Like I said, Rashad Perriman had 1 big catch. They get an underscore. They got shut down, but they did run the ball efficiently. They didn't have any turnovers, so that did help. But they did have a turnover and downs. Defense had 3 sacks to pick. I give them an underscore. They could have played better. They did give a couple big plays on third down, and it did not stop the run. So they gave them that. Okay, now the final game we're doing Sunday Night Football. Oh yeah, and yeah, if I haven't already said it, Jalen Ramsey and Tyler Higbee are also out for the game. The Rams just need I wouldn't call it a miracle, but they need a lot to win that game. It's crucial. This game is crucial. Either way, Bears-Packers. This game, Bears fought, but they ended up losing. 45-30 was your final. Bears fell to 4-9. Packers go to 10-3. Bears offense run the ball visually, 10 plus play action to Darrell Williams. And they did run the ball. They were actually decent. Darnell Mooney had 1 catch in the first quarter. Got shut down the rest of the way. They get an underscore though. They did score 30. Other than the pick 6, Justin Fields threw. If you carry 18 of 33, 224, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. He was okay. He just had that bad pick 6. Other than that, I think their offense was decent. Bears even though stopped them under 2020. No, they get a minus. They got torched even worse than they played last time. 2 sacks, 3 sacks. They give up 38 points. Can't do that and expect to win against the Packers. Aaron Rodgers was almost perfect. 29, 37, 341, 4 touchdowns. He got sacked. Other than that, he was actually pretty good. AJ Dillon, Aaron Jones ran the ball, got the job done. Their offense gets a plus. Other than the first quarter, they were good. Checkdowns and deep balls did good. That good. Devontae Adams was awesome. Defensively, they had 2 picks. I really wasn't impressed. They had 2 sacks. I'm giving them a minus because you can't play like that against the Bears and expect to beat better teams. That's all I really have to say. Either way, guys, like, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed. That's the end of the Week 14 recap. We got Week 15 coming up. Of course, Monday Night Football. Hope you guys enjoyed that. It should be a great game. Unless the Rams. Rams got to win that. That's all I got to say. If the Rams lose that, they're done. Either way, like, subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the Week 14 recap. Let's get ready for Monday Night Football.